like it's starting to get really shallow up here. I have to make my way into the deeper part of the channel, but it's just past this sandbar. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, as you can see, I'm not in the mountains today. I'm actually currently in a salt marsh, and the goal of today is to explore these salt marshes a little bit. Oop, I'm drifting away, one second. So the goal of today is to actually explore these salt marshes a bit. Way off in the distance there, that group of trees is right along the coast on a beach, and I'm planning to hammock camp there tonight. But I've got to make my way, I think, a mile or 2 miles even, through this marsh. But the goal is to make my way through these narrow channels through the marsh, just explore it a little bit, hopefully before the tide goes completely out. You can see the town off there in the distance that I just left. Oh man. I will actually be traveling with the tide once I get past this little section up here. That's why I'm struggling currently. So I haven't been able to really stop and talk to you guys much. But once I get past this bit, I'll actually be going with the tide out to the sea, where I'll land on that beach and hike my way to those trees and set up camp for the night. Let's get paddling. All right, I've made my way. I'm a bit further into the salt marshes now. I've gotten to my first crossroads. So I do have a map that I'm watching very carefully because there are winding streams all the way through this. I have to make a left here, off to where those birds are sitting. Nice. I'm getting my first real view of the trees now off in the distance, where I'm planning to find a place to pitch the hammock tonight. And it looks like I'll definitely be able to pitch a hammock there, at least in that cluster of them. I'm planning to go a bit further than the first cluster of trees, but I've actually never been to this area before. And I've only been looking at satellite images. And from those images, I was able to kind of plot my route through this marsh, looking at some of the photos that were at low tide. So I knew I'd be able to paddle through it, even when the water gets down pretty low. Granted, these sands are always shifting, so I'm hoping I can make it all the way to my destination. If not, I might have to get up and portage through some of these sandier bits, but that's where I'm headed. And from the look of the satellite photos, I was actually looking at the shadows cast by the trees to get an idea of how tall they were and how big they were. So I had a pretty good feeling I would be able to hang a hammock, but it's nice to actually finally see them in person to see that I will be able to. I almost actually missed this. I had to backtrack a tiny bit. So there's this tiny entranceway into this smaller channel, which leads to where I need to go. The currents should change and make the paddle a bit easier, and you can actually see it, the water flowing off to the side. So that'll be the change in current I need, and that'll take me out to the sea, where I'll pick up the beach. Ooh, this first bit, as soon as I got into the marsh, I was fighting the current the whole way. But I've actually planned this trip around the currents, so I'll be heading out to the sea and the beach as the tide's heading out, and then tomorrow morning I'll be leaving and coming back this way, or either a slightly different way as the tides are actually coming in, so I won't have to fight those either. But I sure am glad I'm getting to this spot right here, where the current is now changing. Yes, this should make it a lot easier now. So you can see the current's actually going this way and then heading off in that direction where I'm looking to go. And I just came from here, and you can see the current, which was actually going against me this whole time. Boy, am I happy to be here now. So this should be an easy and much quicker paddle through this narrow section out to the sea. There is a part coming up though on the maps where it looked like there's actually a brim that's formed. I don't know if it's man-made or if it's formed naturally, but I may have to get out and portage around it. Hopefully it's not this silt, which is super, super soft underfoot, but rather sand. I won't know until I get there. Just coasting now. I'm not even having to paddle. So peaceful in here. All right, well, here is the area I was talking about, and it looks like it may be man-made. There's a small channel around it, but I can't get through that, so I'm gonna have to portage over this a little bit right here. Doesn't look too muddy, which is good. Definitely man-made, as you can see. It's stone. Whew. Oh, all right. Whew. Well, that was fun. Time to get going. Don't have too much further from here. And like I said, I'm going with the current now, so I really don't have to do much, but just steer. So relaxing. Hey, buddy. Nothing like the roar of a jet to really set the relaxing mood. It's incredible. Noise pollution. I feel like people don't talk about it enough, but it is really hard nowadays to just find a spot in this world where it's just quiet. Absolutely quiet. I can escape the cars, but planes and jets, those are tough. They are everywhere. Any case, if you can hear me over the roar of the jet, as you can tell, the waterway is starting to widen again, so I'm assuming I'm getting pretty close. I haven't checked my map. Yeah, I'm getting very close to where this part of the marsh exits out to the sea. So I'm gonna be pulling off somewhere up here once I find the beach, because I don't want to pull off onto the silt. So there is, according to the map, a sandy beach, so I'm gonna look for that. And once I find that, oh boy, I'm gonna pull off and get out and then start the hiking portion of this. Oh boy, there we go. All right, we just came from off in that direction. Now we gotta just park up right here, and then the dunes are up there, and we'll start walking along the beach to get to the trees. Oh, nice. All right, so there's actually quite a bit of silt here. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get my pack and then walk my pack and the boat up separately to the dunes up there where there's some nice grass, and put the boat away there. That way it doesn't get all messy. Ooh, thing is definitely gonna need a bath. discovering that that pump for the Haven air pad actually deflates this and inflates it was such a huge discovery for me. As you can see, it just makes it so quick and easy. And because it sucks out the air, I can actually get it a lot smaller than I normally would be able to. Just slowly making my way down the beach to those trees off in the distance. You can see the tide goes down a significant amount here to give you an idea of where we were paddling. So these are the salt marshes, and I started way out there and kind of winded my way through it to back there where I got out and started the hike. So it's only about a mile, so it's not too bad. I'm actually gonna hike around this bend and I'll look at these trees, but the trees way off in the distance there are the ones I'm planning to actually go to first, just to see what they look like. Made it to the trees. There's actually quite a few areas I've already spotted where I could easily pitch a hammock, but I'm actually going to make my way around this bend and head to that other set further down the beach. But nice to know I've already spotted a few areas where there's some nice options. Nice. Well, this is a cool find. So as I've been walking the beach, I've just been keeping my eye out for any cool shells for my kids. My son and daughter always ask me when I do a beach camp to look for something for them. And this is a pretty cool one. Pretty excited about this. Only problem is I've got 2 kids, so I have to find another one. Otherwise, this will just end up being an argument for the 2 of them. So I'm gonna keep my eyes out, but nice find. Finally approaching where I set off for. So that was the first group of trees down that direction. Here's that second set that I was looking to camp at. Can't really tell yet if they're going to be 2 trees spread apart far enough. It looks pretty dense, but I'm gonna give it a go. See if we can find a place to pitch. If not, I can always backtrack and head to that first bit. It's a bit too dense. I'm gonna have to head back to the other spot. Back off in that direction or down over there. Oh well, I got to check out this spot. Gotta hike back though. Oh well. It's 2:20. I would like to set up camp pretty soon because the goal of this trip is relaxation. I just want to do a lot of nothing for a while until it's time to cook dinner. But look at this. All right. This one's even better than the first one. And I'll have 2 nice ones for the kids. Awesome. I'm just following a little game trail right now. See where it takes me. Well, this is where the trail led to. See some wood there, Fantastic spot to pitch a tent and the remnants of a fire pit. Although I don't think I would ever risk having a fire in the dunes like this. I mean, that just doesn't seem smart. If that catches on fire, and then among these pines, you're basically lighting a fire in a matchbox. I can't deny though, it is a fantastic spot to pitch a tent, especially with that view. I'm gonna make my way up here. There seems like a higher kind of dune that some of the bigger trees are on. That way I'll have a better vantage point also. There's definitely some clearings and stuff that I saw from the satellite imagery. I have a good feeling about this. It looks like one of those clearings I was talking about is just right up here. I can see the beach again, so just start looking. The only problem with some of these trees is the branches would be in the way. Actually, one of the reasons why I really like this hammock was because it actually can be pitched on the ground as like a tent or bivvy, which is really great. So if I don't find any trees that I'm happy with, there are plenty of spots, and I could even do it on the beach where I could actually pitch it as a small tent. But, oh yeah, I think I found the spot. Look at this. These trees are perfectly spread apart. And there's a view of the beach. Yeah, this is gonna be it. Oh my God, wait until I show you guys this. This is hammock paradise. There are so many fantastic spots for not only a hammock, but a tent, and you have a fantastic view of the sea. All right, this is home for the night. You could easily pitch a tent anywhere in there with a view, but look at this woodland. It's grassy, so it's clear enough to pitch a tent anywhere in here if you want. Big open spaces back there all throughout, but so many amazing spots to hang a hammock. Haven't been here before. I've just been looking at this spot through satellite images for a long time now, and I finally just decided to do it because I thought I would be able to pitch a hammock here, but I wasn't 100% sure. And with my old hammock set up, if I wasn't able to find trees, then, you know, I would have just had to cowboy camp, which isn't too big of a deal. But with this hammock set up, the Haven tent, I can actually pitch it on the ground as well. So that was the plan. If I wasn't able to find a fantastic spot to hang it like I have here, so I'm definitely hanging it. But if I could not find a spot, the idea was that I would easily be able to find a spot just on the beach and use the hammock as a bivvy. But looks like I'm hanging in the trees tonight with that view. So options. I'm either going to go between these two trees, or what I'm actually thinking is maybe doing this tree and this tree. That way I can lay in the hammock in this direction in kind of recliner mode, and I'll be able to look out straight at that view. That sounds pretty awesome. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm so excited. All right, let's get the hammock up. What an epic spot. Rarely do I get to camp in a forest that's so clutter-free. I mean, this is all grass too, which is amazing. So it'd be fantastic for pitching a tent, but hammock options also. Really cool. So the only downside to this hammock system, unlike my other hammock system, which is super lightweight, very packable, I mean, it packs down to practically nothing, this hammock system is a bit more bulky and heavier. The hammock itself is actually small, but the sleeping pad, which is what makes it so incredibly flat, is quite bulky. So it definitely takes up more room in my pack than my other system. So that's the sleeping pad. It's super thick, 30 inches wide, 80 inches long, and it is extremely comfortable. The reason it's so thick though is because it actually has synthetic insulation instead, so it doesn't pack down as small as the ones with the Mylar. All right, enough rambling. Let's get the hammock up. The ground does slope a little bit, so I need to get this side as high as possible. So what's great about this hammock is it pitches all in one, so the tarp and the hammock are already attached to each other. And I have it set up where I hook the head end onto this loop, so I know which end's the head end and which end's the foot end, and it just makes setup super quick and easy. Alright, it looks like I'm gonna have to loop it around multiple times just to get it a little more taut. I'm not usually a huge fan of camo patterns, but I actually really like this because when it's in storm mode like this, the hammock's pretty much invisible in the tree line, which I really like, because the only time I was ever spotted while on a camp was actually while I was hammock camping. So it's nice to have something that's a bit more stealthy and blends in with the environment, which I typically like. Alright, and that's it. Now I just gotta do the pad. Got a nice big pocket for storing stuff here, and 2 other ones on the side. So 3 on this side and 3 on the other side, which is nice. I think this is it. Absolutely perfect. It's so flat. Gosh, what a spot this is. All right, let's get the fly set up. So as you can see, it blends in quite nicely when it's in kind of the storm mode. The toggles, it actually attaches to the base of the hammock, giving you tons of protection. But I'm gonna go ahead and pitch it out and get the stakes in the ground where I want them to be. That way, when it's time to go to bed tonight, I can easily do it really quickly. Go ahead and pitch this side in porch mode so I have a view of the sea. I like how long these sky lines are. All right, so here's the setup. I've got this side kind of pitched down a little bit, and this other side with the view of the sea, I've got it pitched up, and I have the net currently up as well. So this is the Haven tent or Haven hammock. This is the XL version. So the pad is 30 inches wide, 80 inches long, provides a super nice flat lay, which is cool. And if you use a trekking pole or something, you could stake that end and that end and use it as a ground bivvy, which is kind of cool. And one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it on this trip. Really happy this worked out. Can't beat that view. It'll be better when the water comes in, but you know what I mean. That's home for tonight. I couldn't help but come explore a bit more. Such an incredible little woodland here. And it has these big open areas like this. I mean, this is fantastic for like a group camp. Completely secluded. The only way to get here is either with a raft or a paddleboard, something like that, or I guess you could swim, but it's pretty neat. I wish there was actually an easier way to get here though, because I'd love to come back and camp here. I will, but I'll have to use, you know, the raft or something like that. I'm just coming to the other side of the woodland because I wanted to see the salt marsh side. This is very different from the environments I normally get to camp in. I think that's why I'm so excited about it. So here are the salt marshes. So I don't know if you could tell, but way off in the distance there is the town. That's that first batch of trees. The beach kind of curves along this way, and I'm camped through the woodland by the beach over there. Really peaceful, isolated spot. Love it. All right, now it's time to go relax. Back to camp. Love this spot. Right next to the water too. I wish high tide wasn't at 10 p.m., but oh well. Still a fantastic spot. Not a bad view at all. It'll be great when the water finally comes in. The beach is just right there. All right, it is currently 4 o'clock. So I'm just gonna hang out a bit, relax, look at that view, and I'll probably start cooking dinner around 5 o'clock. I actually just realized, I was like, I should just sit here, have a beer, and relax. I forgot my beer. I left it in the fridge. Man, nice hot day on the beach. Would have been nice in a hammock. Oh well. Any case, so I'm gonna have some cold water. At least I have that. And I'll just sit here and relax. And I'll get back with you guys in just a little bit. Aside from the occasional plane, it's so quiet. I love it. And you can just hear the waves off in the distance. Really great spot. Usually when I do beach camps, if I don't know if I'm going to be on the sand or not, I like to bring this just to lay it out. And tonight I'm going to be using my oven again, which I'm really enjoying. It'll make dinner nice and relaxing. So tonight I'm going to be making a sea bass dish. Over the holiday break, my family was actually in Cornwall. I had a ton of sea bass while I was there, cooked in so many different ways, and I absolutely loved it. So I'm actually going to be making some sea bass tonight. I'm going to be doing it actually in a way that I saw some Italian chef do it. I forget his name. I figured I'd do something similar and then add some of my own ingredients, specifically samphire, which is a succulent plant. And almost every sea bass dish I had while I was in Cornwall had this in it, and I absolutely love it. So I'm going to be adding that to the dish as well. So, sea bass by the sea. Should be a good meal. While I prepare that though, I'm going to go ahead and get the bread starting to toast in the oven. By the time that's done toasting, I'll have my sea bass ready to actually put in the oven as well. So I actually got a lot of questions about this stove setup in my last video, so I figured I'd cover some of them. This is the Heika oven. You pretty much buy it as it is, and it comes with all kinds of different configurations and whatnot, but you do need a stove, and the stove I've been actually using is the Trangia Triangle with the Firebox wood flame gas burner. And I've found that to be a really great combination because I can use it as a campfire in areas where you're not supposed to have an actual open fire. But what I like about using the Trangia Triangle is, I don't know if you can tell, but the 3 prongs of it actually fit inside the oven, and it is completely cut off from any wind whatsoever. And there's a space on each face of the triangle as well that allows air to flow in also. So it's completely wind resistant, and the burner's small enough that on its lowest setting it actually keeps the oven at the perfect temperature. I've been testing a lot of different stoves with this, and I actually used the Trangia stove originally, but the burner's too big and it just burns way too hot, and it actually warped the inner deflector plate a tiny bit. So I don't use that anymore just because it burns too hot and the oven gets too hot. I like this stove because it's small and I'm actually able to regulate the temperature and keep it at a nice constant heat. So really like the setup. So that's going to take about 15 to 20 minutes to cook. So I'm just going to relax. That's why I like the oven so much, because I don't know about you guys, but when I'm at home, I'd say during the week I probably do 2, maybe even 3 if it's a busy week, tray bakes. So basically I'll just have all my ingredients on a tray and I'll just bake it in the oven, pull it out, and dinner served. So I do a lot of meals like that at home just because they're simple, and with the kids I can be doing homework or something like that while it's in the oven. At camp, kind of the same thing. Just get it prepared, which was pretty quick, put it in the oven, and just wait. When you got a hammock and you're at the beach, it's kind of nice just to let it cook itself. And now I can just relax, so I'm going to do that. Oh, I'll show you one cool feature though. So you can recline this, and it actually puts it in a recliner mode, so you can sit up. Awesome. Really liking this hammock so far. Alright guys, there it is. Sea bass. What's awesome about this is the pan sauce. The tomatoes, the olives, the lemon, the butter, the samphire, everything kind of blends together, and as it steams, it all settles on top of the fish. It just gives it such a great flavor. First bite. Oh man, this is so good. The sea bass just takes on all the flavors of everything. And that butter sauce, dipping the bread in there, is the best. Alright, I'm going to eat this, enjoy that view and the silence, and I'll get back with you guys soon. One of the best parts is you take the tomatoes and you kind of spoon it onto the bread with some of the butter and oil and pesto. Oh man, oh, it's so good. I just realized, why the heck am I sitting on the ground? I'm so used to camping with tents. I have a seat right here. This is pretty cool. It's a ridge light, so it hangs along the ridge line, and it's a nice warm light, which I really like. Nice. Just decided to take a little stroll out to the beach and see the water. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's actually, you can hear the tides changing. High tide's at 10 o'clock, I believe. Any case, I've been walking a little bit. It's still pretty far out there, so I don't think I'm gonna make it. Ground is also very soft. Feels like you're in the desert when you walk out here. Kind of cool. All right, any case, I'm gonna head back to camp. Always such a pleasure getting to watch the sunset. Flip this side over and go ahead and have my fire just right here where the grass is real short. And just have my fire there, hang out, watch the tide come in. As you can see, the tide's coming in pretty quick. It's 8:37, high tide's at 10, so still about an hour and a half. Such a beautiful evening. Alright, so I might get the fire going, just hang out a little bit. Campfire ambiance without the campfire. Pretty cool. I don't know if you guys can tell, but the water now is right behind me. And with the sun setting, I've got all these pretty pinks and oranges. What an incredible spot this is. Glow of the fire. Beautiful sunset. Really awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and get the bed set up. Temperature's starting to drop a bit. Just gonna go ahead and get a long sleeve on to take the chill away.
quite cozy in here and spacious. It's really nice. I love all the pockets. In any case, I'm going to go ahead and go to bed. So sunrise is around 5:20 a.m., which means first light's going to probably be before 5 a.m. So I'm going to be up really early. So I'm going to go ahead and get to bed, and I will catch you guys in the morning. Good night. Good morning. It is 5 a.m. I don't want to get out of bed, but as you can see, it is very bright out already. This was hands down the most comfortable night I have ever slept in a hammock. My other hammock's comfortable, but this doesn't even feel like a hammock. It feels like a floating bed. The 30 inches in width is awesome, and it is so incredibly flat that I slept on my stomach, which I've never done for an extended period of time in a hammock. I've slept on my stomach in my other hammock, but I can usually only do it for 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe. With this, I pretty much slept the entire night on my stomach and then flipped onto my side every once in a while. Awesome. So good. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and get up, get a coffee going. I do have to get moving pretty quickly because I want to catch the tides moving in. That way I'm not fighting the tides as they're coming out. So, let's get up, make coffee. This was such a great feature last night. There was a lot of wind coming through the tent, so I was able to just pop the guy lines off and quickly connect it, and problem solved. Coffee bags again. This one's the Italian roast, which I haven't tried before. Cheers, guys. Really have enjoyed all the pockets. If you can't tell, they're all stuffed with gear. On this camp, because I knew there wasn't going to be any rain, I didn't actually store my bag inside the hammock, but on the ridgeline you can actually hang the top of your bag and rest it right here in this space, so it's elevated above your feet. That way you can access anything you need throughout the night, and if it's raining, or if you just want to keep the bag off the ground, which is kind of cool. I brought about 3 liters of water on this camp because there's, obviously no fresh water. just going ahead and consolidating it. That way I don't have this big 2-liter bladder in my pack, and that'll save space and just make it a lot easier. So when I store the hammock, I like to put it away in storm mode. That way if I need to pitch it in the rain, the interior is completely covered. And then just wrap the lines around the toggle so it's nice and neat. Next thing I do is I just take the head end and attach it to the loop on the foot end. That way I know that this is the head end next time I pitch it, and then it gets stuffed in the bag. One nice thing about hammock camping is normally when I get home, I have to set up my tent, let it dry, and then I'll pitch it and clean it. Whereas with hammocks, they never actually even touch the ground, and there's never any condensation really. So once I pack it away, it'll be good for the next trip now. Next time I have it, head end, foot end, all nice and neat. Just got to get everything in the bag, and it's time to leave. On camps like this where I'm pack rafting, I have everything in a pack liner in the main compartment, and then in this big front compartment I have everything in a big dry bag. Guys, leave no trace as always. We're pitched between these two trees with that view. Such a beautiful spot. All right, time to get hiking. Have about a mile to go down the coast. Then I'm gonna pick up a waterway, get out the pack raft, and then we'll get back on the water and get out of here. What a great camp. Conditions have definitely changed today though. Super warm day yesterday, bordering on too hot, and now we're back to normal British weather. I don't mind though. I like it cooler like this. I would like the sun to be out though. Just heading along the coast, like I said, about a mile. And then off in the distance there where the town is, I'll pick up the waterway again and paddle back. This thing is an absolute game changer for me. It's so fast. I need to time it. Awesome. Hi, buddy. Look at this guy. He's super curious. Alright guys, back on the water. Hopefully you saw that seal. He's actually following me a little bit. So cool. He came right up to the boat. He was so curious. I think I'm going to go ahead and end the video here and just enjoy the paddle. Explore a bit more. Hopefully you liked the video. What a fantastic spot to spend the night. I will definitely be back there. Tons of spots to pitch a tent, to hang a hammock. Such a great area. Really got lucky with that location. For my next trip, I'll probably be back in the mountains.
Hopefully you liked the video. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below, and I'll catch you on the next one. Please like, share, get outside. Later.